Yeah.
But do you have a home studio? Like, are you still doing like session work? Like, can you work
No,
from
no, I
home
don't.
or?
I don't have a home studio, so I haven't done anything in a year. I mean,
Wow,
Wow.
but it's okay. It's been good just being home and doing nothing,
just
just
chilling.
wandering around. Yeah, it's great.
I've
I'm
enjoyed
home.
the hell out of it, I gotta say.
I
So
love it. I love it.
Yeah,
You know,
working from home. And is it weird? Is this
travel.
like the longest you haven't been on the
Yeah,
road?
yeah, in a long time. Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
What do you do to keep busy?
well, we've got a lot of gardens. We just getting the vegetable garden going now. We've got lots of beds, flower beds, and it's springtime here. So,
still down in Connecticut?
yeah, I'm in Connecticut. Yeah,
Nice, nice.
yeah, yeah. So we're just, I love that. You get up in the morning, you don't have to worry about a trip looming over your head, or
Right.
being away for weeks at a time or whatever. It's
Well,
been
that's
really
why
nice.
Tom Gimbel of Foreigner quit the band. He just
Yeah,
went, you know what? I'm just happy at home.
me too. It's really, I don't know. You just get to that point where
It's going to be really difficult to go back out, I think.
Yeah, we'll
For
see. Yeah.
We'll see.
Is
As
Mickey
Steve,
Curry announcing his retirement from the
no, no, no,
band?
no, 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 no.
Is that the headline right now?
Yeah, no.
No.
But as Steve Gadd says, we'll burn that bridge when we come to it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So,
Well, I got a couple of questions I want to. First of all, what do you know about this record that Bryan's working on with Mutt right now? Are you play? Did you play on that at all? Or
no, I'm not. I haven't played anything on it. Bryan, I know he was in Vancouver working on it, and I can't get to Vancouver. Um,
yeah.
so,
Well, I think you'd be considered essential. The border would be open for Mickey Curry. Come on.
I think he's got. I'm hearing that Pat Stewart's played on a few things, which is great because Pat's fantastic. He's the local guy up there, and he plays great, and he's done a lot of work with Bryan in the past. So
Right.
I'm glad for that. I think Bryan might even be tapping the drum kit
Nice.
as well. Yeah, because he's been working on that stuff. I've been telling him for years he should play drums on something because he can play. He's
a good drummer.
Yeah, he's a good drummer. He's got a good feel. He's got really good time, and he knows what he likes. So, but
Bryan does?
Yeah, Bryan does. Yeah.
Wow, he's also a great bass player. So look at him.
Yeah, no, he's really gifted all around. He can play everything. So,
and he's a really percussive guitar player too.
So. Yeah. Well, he's got an incredible feel for everything. He's got that sort of R&B thing, very soulful and bluesy, and
yeah,
a lot of those guitar parts you don't think are him. In a lot of those records. So, and then he's got Keith to just come in and make it all explode. So.
Really, Keith is a monster. That's
Keith,
a dream interview right there, absolutely. Keith Scott.
Yeah, he's the guy. He's the guy. There's no one like him.
Have you heard any of like demos or tracks?
No, I haven't heard anything. I haven't spoken to Bryan in a couple of months, so we'll probably yap soon. Keith and I haven't talked in a while. We email and stuff, so everybody tries to keep in touch just to see what's happening. But yeah, I know
too
Bryan's
busy watching the Bruins.
Yeah. I know Bryan's working on the record, and I know Mutt was involved in some stuff a while back, so I'm sure he's helping him get through all the.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk to you about working with Mutt because I was just re-listening to "Waking Up the Neighbors," and you're credited as playing drums on the album, but we all know that's a Fairlight at this point.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I interviewed Bryan 2 years ago now. We had like a really in-depth conversation about doing the album with Mutt.
Yeah.
And I asked him, was like, that it's straight up Fairlight. He's like, oh yeah, it was Fairlight, but it was mixed with, live elements and stuff. So what was the process of that when a
lot of those songs started as the band tracks. We would just record the songs. And then when Mutt actually came in full time on the record, all the live tracks sort of went away. He took some of the things that were played. I don't know if he was looping things and then, sampling sounds over the top, but it ended up just doing, they were Mutt Lange drum tracks, which are unbelievably good and really well done. But what you're listening to, right? It's not really a live thing. So some of those things were just fills that I had played and just repurposed. A lot of the parts were already sort of established. And then the songs were rewritten and taken apart and, bits and pieces from 3 songs were put together to make a song. They were real, and it took a long time. It took them a few years to get that record together. But yeah, there's not really a live drum within 100 miles of that record. So.
Yeah, it's funny because Phil Collins said the same thing. They would do the drums always last. They would probably recorded the demos till a Lynn drum, and because Mutt always wanted to be able to change a chorus or change a part of the song, and if you do the drums, you can't go in. And
no, that's exactly right. He doesn't commit to an arrangement until he's done with it. So if you've got a drum track and there's a fill going into the first chorus, or there's a fill, or there's a breakdown, or there's big ride cymbals or something going on, he doesn't want to commit to that until he knows he's got the actual thing finished, right?
Right.
So on subsequent records, the records a few after that Mutt worked on, I would just go in. Most of the stuff was recorded already, and I would just go in and put drums over them, over these songs.
Really?
So that worked out really well with Mutt. I could just go in, play drums in 1 or 2 passes. Okay, Mickey, you're done. That's great, and we'll take it from there. The song "Have You Ever Really Loved a Woman" we recorded in Jamaica, and I thought, this is going to take me forever to get this track. And I sat at the kit and played 1 take, and he said, "That's it. It's great. You're done."
Wow.
So, I thought it was going to take me a week, and it took me, 3.5 minutes or however long the song is.
It was done.
Yeah, we put a drum fill in somewhere. He said, "I need a little something in here." And okay, so
punch it in.
Yeah, we dropped in something.
So on Waking Up the Neighbors, did you go in and are you playing the cymbals and the hi-hats?
A lot of the cymbals were used. I would go in some of those tracks, and this was before it was all finalized and finished, because a lot of those songs, by the time that record came out, a lot of those songs were just completely different arrangements of what I thought were the songs, a year and a half earlier.
Right.
So yeah, I put cymbals on a lot of things.
So would you sit there with the track playing in your can?
Yeah, and you just bash through you just hit the cymbals in the down, wherever the crashes were, hi-hat parts, ride cymbal, bell, whatever was in the song at that particular spot in the arrangement.
Wow. So you're basically sitting in front of a cymbal drum kit.
Yeah, I played cymbals on that record pretty much. That's what's live on the record, of the cymbal sound.
Yeah. I was reading something about that record where I forget who it was, but apparently Mutt would go in and literally just take decays of cymbals.
Yeah, the ambience of the I'm not sure how any of the how technically any of it worked, but he would do the same thing with guitar parts. Keith would play one line, 30 times to get this effect, or, to get some sort of a sound,
what kind of direction would Mutt give to you though? You're sitting there, he's like, "Oh, Mickey, the downbeat on the 3rd bar, you're a little bit late on the cymbal."
Yeah, that's kind of what we did.
And it would just...
and you just, okay, I'll bash through these tracks and try to hit the cymbal where the kick drum is, on a downbeat, right?
Yeah. Would he say "Oh yeah, the hi-hat's not on the downbeat," and
but for the most part, we would get them. There were a few spots like that where it was like, "Oh, this one sounds a little off, and that's a little, that kind of." And when you listen to it, you go, "Wow, how did that happen?" You think you're on but it's all that really precise sort of approach to a track.
May I ask you a question then? How do you bring that then to the live setting? Do you just, is it just a lot of rehearsal and you just learn it? Yeah.
Yeah, you just learn the song but like I said, a lot of those songs we knew sort of the basic song already. We had recorded them way before, and then then there are the sort of Mutt versions of the songs, which I think are unbelievably great. So they're really fun to play live, all of those songs. Because it's big, wide open drum parts, big, fat, simple, but every note counts. Every single hit is important.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, you went and did Have You Ever Really Loved a Woman, and it was just like one take. I love the music video for Please Forgive Me, where you guys are all playing in the studio. Was that song cut live, like off the floor?
Yes, that's actually, you're pretty much looking at us recording the song. That was I think two takes of that song.
Wow.
And that was a live band in the studio. That was another great Mutt session. We did 2 songs that day, and he wanted to get everything recorded, mixed, and put out in the 2 days we were there. So we had a big band in the studio. David Page on piano, he was fantastic. And
I love the shot of Mutt behind the board and during the chorus, and you see him playing the air cymbal.
Yeah. He's so much fun to work with. People have this thing about Mutt, but he's really a blast to work with. He's so musical, and he's a really good guy. So there's no weirdness about it or anything. It's just you get in there and you work, and you want to make sure he gets what he needs from you for the song. So
and this track record doesn't hurt. When you look at Foreigner 4 and you look at the AC/DC and Def Leppard, you just go, you know what? I'm just going to let him take the wheel.
Yeah.
I'm just going to.
Well, you can't. What are you going to do? I mean, it's Mutt Lange.
Did you ever have
a movie with Martin Scorsese? What are you going to argue with the guy about your?
Yeah, you're going to say to Quentin Tarantino, yeah, I don't think this is working.
Yeah. Right. When he tells you need to cry in a scene, are you going to argue about
I should be laughing in this scene. What are you talking about? Did you have any like profound experiences or moments in the studio working with Mutt where you were like, holy shit, like, wow, this guy's like not from this world?
Well, every session with him is like that. You just he hears stuff that no one hears. He knows what he needs to get, or actually I'm not sure he knows what he needs to get, but he knows it when he has it, when he hears it, right? So he's constantly sort of revamping little things and ideas, and coming up with a part, and then he sort of lives with it for a little while, and then why don't we try this, and I know that's how a lot of the guitar parts came around with Keith. It would be just play along and we'll see what feels right. And, they could come up with a million bits and pieces and pick and choose, the ones you like the best, and then sort of piece that together. And but no, every session with Mutt, the Please Forgive Me session was really impressive. He got all of those guys in that little room, and we played those songs. No one knew the songs beforehand. We just, Bryan had these songs written, Mutt had them written. It was like, okay, here's the song. Now we're going to record. And, that red light goes on and you just do it.
Yeah.
But those songs that they were done, just like you see in the video, we just sort of played, and that's how it came out. And then he put it together, mixed it, and done.
So they brought in the video crew and everything. They're like, okay, boys, so we're recording the song and video same time.
Absolutely. All of it was done in one afternoon. So
wow,
it was really fun. It was nerve-wracking because you don't want to be the guy that screws it up.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah.
And Please Forgive Me was what it was a bonus track for a compilation or something like that, right?
Something like that. Yeah, he was putting together greatest hits or something.
And that is a huge song, by the way. Still, I think it's got like 500 million views on YouTube.
Right?
Like it's a massive song still.
Well, we had I remember the dog. I loved the dog they had.
Yeah.
They had a dog running around in there, and what a great little dog. Anyway, that was in Paris. We did that in Paris.
Where are all those drum kits now? Like the Please Forgive Me drum kit and.
I still have them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have all my kits somewhere. I have some here at the house. I have a barn that I store a lot of stuff in. A couple of kits up at the studio in Vancouver at Bryan's place, the Warehouse. I've got 1 or 2 kits in upstate New York here at Pauling Studio. It's Daryl and John built a studio way back. So I was doing session work up there. So I leave a couple things there, but a lot of stuff here at the house.
Nice.
Too. But yeah, I have most of my kits that I've ever played.
Here's a really geeky question. Now you're probably not going to know the answer, but do you remember what hi-hats and cymbals you used on Waking Up the Neighbors?
Yeah, I use 15-inch New Beat hi-hats, which I've always played. I just used pretty much my cymbal setup. I think I was using 17 and 18 A custom crashes, and a 21-inch sweet ride was always my ride cymbal. And then a couple of splashes, 7, 8-inch splashes, and a rivets, 19-inch rivets.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. I love the hi-hat sound on that record.
Yeah, that's those 15-inch new beats, man. And then, Mutt does his magic. So
yeah, there's a lot of EQ and all kinds of crap.
It's crazy.
A lot of great magic. By the way, I'm gonna say this because it doesn't get said enough, but the Into the Fire album is one of the greatest albums released in the 1980s, bar none. That's it. I just want to make sure people know that because it is fantastic. Heat of the Night.
Yeah.
Another Day. Only the Strong. Damn, that's.
Well, I love that record too. I think it's my favorite. It might be my favorite Adams record. I love the song Into the Fire.
Yeah. Remembrance Day is a great song.
Remembrance Day is a great track.
Yeah, the whole thing is just perfect. Only the Strong Survive was just perfect. And Heat of the Night.
Yeah. What was the secret to that drum sound, by the way? On like
Bob
Heat of the Night? Bob Clearmountain.
Bob Clearmountain is the secret. Yeah. He just gets those sounds. And we did that record in Bryan's house in Vancouver. The drums were in the dining room.
Really?
And they had the board downstairs in the basement. And we had cameras with videos with screens for, to communicate. So Bob was downstairs at the board and we were all upstairs in various rooms doing the record. And that's a really great sounding record. But that's all Clearmountain, man. Bob's got the best ears of anybody.
That snare drum on Heat of the Night is like, oh my God. Do you remember what snare you used for that?
Yeah, that particular song I think is a Black Beauty.
Oh wow!
We used the Black Beauty on a lot of those. We also used a 7-inch birch shell Yamaha recording custom. I have a bunch of those.
Was it
a lot of those records?
Was it like a 6.5 by 14 Black Beauty or?
Yeah, it might have been. It was probably 6.5. Yeah.
Wow. By the way, Heat of the Night would be a great show opener in the summertime. You just get that boom.
Yeah.
We've actually, I think we've done that. I think we
should
played that. I think we've played that as an opener in certain shows.
I don't think I've ever seen you guys play Heat of the Night. That would blow my mind.
Yeah. I don't know why we got away from playing it, but every now and then he'll just start doing like a little acoustic version of it.
Yeah.
And then we all sort of kick in when he turns around and says, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Where is everybody? Oh, I'm supposed to play along now. Okay.
Right. Here's another really geeky question. Going back to the Heat of the Night snare. If I wanted to get that snare sound, how would I tune it?
I don't tune the top head all that tight. I could tune the drum for you if you hold up. You want to hold up that drum you got from your buddy there. I can
grab another one.
I can tune it for you.
Is the magic in the bottom head and the snare wire, or is
the bottom head's always tighter than the top head for me? The snare wire, all of that's important, but it's also Bob Clearmountain just knows how to.
Yeah,
he tunes the snare a lot. Actually, I'll walk into a session and he's sitting at the drum kit tuning the snare drum.
Really?
Yeah, he knows to get. There's a certain sort of overtone.
Yeah, because it has
a snare rattle. There's a certain decay in the snare rattle that he likes. So he's constantly playing with the snare tension.
Yeah,
the actual snares and the sort of top head. The sweet spot, which is just sort of 9 o'clock, maybe a quarter of the way to the center of the head. He likes that sound in there. So there's a real honk to that snare drum.
Yeah, it's
he loves that. So
I would describe it as it has length to it.
Yeah,
they have.
Well, a lot of that's got to do with the way he mics it, and then he, a lot of those drum sounds he'd run them through a big speaker out in I know at Little Mountain, we ran speakers out in the loading bay, and then he had ambient mics. He'd have like 6 or 8 different mics out there, and he'd gate them. So you get all that like crazy. And the same thing at the power station. We would put big speaker cabinets out in the parking garage, and he would have mics the length of the parking garage, you know, to get. Yeah, so he'd get all this amazing.
So he'd set up a PA and then blast it through the garage,
Yeah,
and then
just that kick and snare or something, you know, so he could really get that.
It's amazing all the minutia that goes into making a fantastic record, and that's why your Bob Ezrins, your Bob Rocks, your Clear Mountains, your Bruce Fairburns, and
Mutt Lange,
they're all at that extra level, and you have all these people trying to be at that level, but they're just not paying attention to that detail, and you can't get this without that detail. And it's anyway. Mickey,
well, I think that's what makes these guys real, you know, innovators in their field. You know, Bob Rock and Bob Clear Mountain, you know, Mutt, they're just you know, really innovative in their approach to how things are done. So
there you go.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Great insight.
Yeah.
And in case you didn't guess, Jeremy is what they call a gear whore. He loves that detail.
Yeah, well,
I love that stuff.
Anything I can help you with from my end, man, I'm happy to talk about it. I love talking about snare drums. You know, I could talk about snare drums all day. So
Well, Jeremy's making his own album, and he's playing all the instruments. And he's trying to figure out, because I guess you want to get that snare sound, right? Because
well, Jeremy, I would say if you want a big fat snare drum sound, the looser the top head, the better chance of you getting that sound you want. And really loosen the snares, like get them so they almost sound like they're off. You know, then you can sort of play with that. But for me, when you want a big fat snare drum sound, that top head shouldn't be too tight. It's not going to happen, you know, that unless you want that. Like if you're looking for John Bonham, you might want to tighten it up a little bit and still have those loose bottom head tight and those snares fairly loose.
Yeah, because I have a 6.5 by 14 LM 402, and depending on how I tune it, you know, it's too honky.
What head are you putting on that?
I've got a controlled sound.
CS batter. Try putting an Emperor on there.
Yeah, actually, I think
because that's a double head. That's a double head, so it'll mute the drum without you having to pad it or do anything to it.
Yeah,
you know?
I think I'm using an Emperor X controlled sound.
Oh yeah. Oh, there you go. That's a lot of sort of baffle on that head.
Yeah, so maybe I should go with something else.
That should be that's a nice fat honking snare head. You know, you should be able to tune that. But I think loosen those snares and you know, don't tighten that top head too much.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There you go.
There you go.